Chapter 11. Final Pilgrimage to the Himalayas. By doing sadhana on Bhagirath Shila in Gangotri, I got the power to launch Pragya Abhiyan and thus help in the descent of Gyan Ganga, stream of knowledge on this earth. While I was in the ashram of Parshuram in Uttar Kashi, I got the battle axe with the help of which I could create turbulence and anger in the minds of people against widespread perversion. According to the scriptures, Parshuram had beheaded several tyrants a number of times. My activity was confined to annihilation of evil tendencies lodged in the human mind. Vichar Kranti and Pragya Abhiyan are not only creative but also reformative. Both these objectives have been achieved on a large scale with great success by the power of tapashcharya and not by any miracle or coincidence. This is a summary of the past activities. I have now been directed by Gurudev, to whose tune I have been dancing as a puppet throughout my life to make a big leap in this direction. Now I have to enter into a new higher level of tapashcharya. The general public knows only that I am living in seclusion and not meeting anybody. This information is incomplete. A person whose whole being is full of diligence, industriousness, punctuality, and order cannot live a useless, inactive life as is being assumed. I am required to do comparatively far more work and I remain far more busier while living in seclusion. Although I have adopted the practice of not meeting people, I have established contact with many illumined immortal souls whose company I have aspired to enjoy perennially and which would not have been possible in the normal course. How can it then be said to be a life of seclusion? There has been only a change in the method of working. The type of persons who used to meet me and the subjects of the meetings have changed. Mystics always adopt such methods. They appear to be inactive although they remain extremely busy. When a top, lattu, revolves with full speed, it appears to be standing motionless. The fact that it is in motion can be noticed only when its speed is slowed down and it starts stumbling and falling. In those days, when Einstein was busy in conducting important research, he had changed his entire routine of life. He used to live all alone in huge building where all facilities were available. All the books, literature, instruments of research, assistants and colleagues were readily available at hand, but they were kept away from him so that Einstein's concentration may not be disturbed. He used to ring a bell and get everything which he wanted through his attendant. Visitors waited for months to see him. It was only thus that it became possible for him to make his valuable contributions to humanity, which amazed the entire world. The rishis and tapasvis also lived a similar life in seclusion in the ancient times. They were engaged in conducting researches on several planes relating to spiritual science. They used to select some quiet, secluded place and got absorbed in their work with full concentration. I have also been directed to do some very important new type of tasks. The first is to activate the dormant spiritual power to neutralize the probability of a worldwide Holocaust. The second is to provide necessary inspiration and strength to constructive workers, Srajan Shilpis, without which they will be unable to do their work satisfactorily. Third is to initiate and raise the structure of those righteous tendencies which will act as guidelines in building the new era. All these tasks cannot be performed all alone through the physical body, which has a limited range of power to meet physical needs and can render help to a limited number of proximate persons. It is necessary to develop the astral and causal bodies for doing more important and extensive work. When all these three bodies become equally strong and active, then alone it will be possible to accomplish the momentous deeds in accordance with the will of the time spirit Mahakal. Ramakrishna Paramhans was placed almost under similar circumstances. He was required to accomplish a task of worldwide dimensions. As per plan, he transfused his power into Vivekanand and took upon himself the responsibility of making the task of the latter easy and successful from behind the scene. Such a stupendous task could not have been accomplished through the physical body. He therefore abandoned it without hesitation. He had also overspent his energies by liberally conferring boons. He voluntarily got afflicted with cancer, discharged his debt, and got engaged in doing the work through Vivekanand, who did it all according to the direction of his Supreme Master. When Ramakrishna withdrew to the astral realm, his physical absence caused pain and sadness, but all that had happened was for the greatest good. After his physical death, Ramakrishna's power had increased 1,000-fold and many righteous works were done not only in the country but in the whole world. When he was alive, he could give his blessings to some disciples and transfuse his spiritual powers into Vivekanand, but when he got the opportunity to act through the astral and causal bodies, he could do far greater works which can be hardly understood or quantified. The life of Jesus Christ has also been of the same type. He struggled hard throughout his life but could make only 13 persons as his disciples. When he found that his physical body would not be able to do as much work as he wanted, he took the help of his astral body and invisibly helped in the spread of Christianity throughout the world. On such occasions, great persons voluntarily choose painful death to clear their past accounts. Crucifixion of Christ, taking poison by Socrates, Shri Krishna's getting hit by an arrow, Pandavas getting frozen in the Himalayas, Gandhi's being shot are all events which indicate that all great persons who want to enter from the physical into the astral form to accomplish still greater tasks give up their bodies in such a manner that it be regarded as a martyr's death and inspire generations to come. This has happened with me and is going to happen also in future. My inner being has been molded in a peculiar mold and I will consciously keep it so molded. Goodwill, affection, love, universal sense of spiritual affinity have become the stuff of my cells. This experience is profoundly blissful and nectar sweet, and it is so well grounded in the deepest depths of my being that there is no question of my slipping down from it. If one could delve deep into my inner being, encased in this physical frame, he will find nothing but a gushing fount of limitless love and compassion for all creation. I have relished only one flavor, that of love. I have amassed only one treasure, that of inexhaustible love. I see and feel the same spirit that dwells in me, indwelling all. However, I find myself spiritually related in a very special bond of kinship with those who have been living and working with me for the fulfillment of the divine mission bequeathed to me by my Gurudev.
My life, its legacy and message. हमारी वसीयत और विरासत. Author Shri Ram Sharma Acharya.
If you found this video helpful, then please like, comment and share it, and subscribe to our YouTube channel Rishi Chintan. Please press the bell icon so that you will receive notifications of our upcoming videos. Thank you.